Something special will come to change. I came across way too much pain.
At the top left of Belcher Beach, in the red colors, the player from Slayers, it is
Slayers YugiOh.
He has won all his matches in today's group so far, and now he's encountering the third player at the bottom right, who also took 2 games in the group. It is
StarCraft July.
Hell yeah. 10 to 11, going for the extractor trick in order to go to the oversupply. We have a ZVZ, and this time no early pool by neither one of them.
Yeah, and this is Belcher Beach. It's a 2-player map. This is a map where Zerg versus Zerg can be very interesting, but you have that secondary ramp at your natural, so types of Baneling aggression are just not as effective because you can put spines at the top of the ramp. It's hard to break up the ramp. We'll see what happens. There is no ramp to the main though, so speedlings are quite effective. You have to be careful about what you're doing when your opponent has speed out. For example, before you, like we saw with July, you can't really block your ramp very easily. You can't defend your natural.
Both of them are going for expansion first, hatch first. Both of these players, 15 to 15 supply. They're doing exactly the same right now.
And this will become very quickly a game of drones, as people like to call it, because it's going to be a game where both players are doing the exact same thing essentially, and it's going to be a case of who has the right decision making at the right time for when to make drones, when to make roaches. You know, do you overmake roaches because you're not sure if your opponent's going to attack you? Do you actually just make the right amount of roaches, the right amount of drones to stay neck and neck with your opponent? It's actually a really cool matchup. It's very difficult to play. That's why a lot of people don't like it. It's so unpredictable, and sometimes you can't know what your opponent's doing. A lot of it comes down to instinct.
And with the situation in the group being as it is, a win in this match will basically guarantee you a Coda S spot. There's a slight chance that you will end up in some kind of weird tiebreaker, but you should be able to get into Coda S.
You put it in your hands,
yeah,
for sure. You know, like I was saying earlier, if you get 3 wins in this type of group situation, you're never going to be dependent on other people losing for you to get into Coda S.
Both of them finishing the pool, starting with the Queen now.
Yep, double Queens on the way for July. And YugiOh a little bit later.
It's a completely different ZVZ from what we've seen between July and Lovesick, with Lovesick taking the initiative in the early stage of the game, getting aggressive, trying to make that 10 pool count, even going for that spine crawler that he built in his opponent's base. Now we have both players just macroing up, trying to get that second base, going for the speed, and then they scout it. They know, they're well aware of what their opponent is doing. So let's see who's going to start to be the aggressive player and who's being forced to defend.
Baneling Nest going down for both players as well. And in most cases in ZVZ, when your opponent has a hatchery, you know he's got the ability to do a huge speedling pressure. He's going to have a lot of production, so you have to be careful. Getting the Baneling Nest defensively is so smart. I don't think either player is going to put on Baneling aggression, though.
Actually, I mean, the problem with the ramp is that you have that high ground that you have to defend, but the ramps are just so big that you can definitely try to sneak by. And one thing that is going to be really dangerous is if one of them is going for a bunch of Zerglings, attacking, running into his opponent's main base and trying to hide some Banelings while attacking with the rest of the Zerglings. If you're not aware of a move like this, you might lose the game because the Banelings are able to sneak into your economy line. And this is the beauty of watching ZVZ, and what I personally hate playing it. It's just so hard. You need to be so aware of what's happening, and the micro one misstep and you will lose the match.
Very true. And as you see there, July's just making some defensive Banelings. He's going to put them at the top of his ramp just in case his opponent tries to do anything sneaky. He's very aware of, like you said, the Zerglings that came into his main base. They're not going to get away. They're not going to be able to be made into Banelings in the corner. He's got a spine at the top of his ramp as well.
It's interesting to see that they basically built the same amount of drones every time with every cycle. 33 against 33 drones now.
Yeah, YugiOh just a little bit ahead. He sneaked out 3 extra drones because he didn't make those Banelings. And he actually has a spine position in the identical position. I really liked that July made his Baneling Nest at the front though, because that helps him wall off and makes it a little bit more difficult for his opponent. Lair on the way for both players at the exact same moment.
And July a little bit more defensive than his opponent. He's going for the spine crawler. He's getting a second spine crawler. And YugiOh is doing exactly the same. They both get a new round of drones. It's It's the perfect mirror match.
Yeah, the production tab has a line of symmetry on it, essentially, and the last gas being taken for July a little bit later than YugiOh. And YugiOh actually missing some overlords as well. It's basically the only differences that we can spot here. Also, one thing to note is that July did not connect creep between his bases, whereas YugiOh did.
Sacrificing a bit of energy on his queens in order to get those tumors going.
Indeed, and YugiOh right now, his Zergling count a little bit higher than July's 9 to 4. Ooh, Spire and Infestation Pit for YugiOh, so YugiOh definitely getting the better end of the build orders here.
Yep, in regards to the build order, YugiOh is ahead now. The question is, will he be able to defend with the Infestors appropriate? Well, in the fashion that he needs to. Because if July is able to catch him off guard with the Mutalisks, he will still be in the lead. But in regards to the openings, YugiOh is definitely in a position where he should be able to
He should.
Ooh,
he sees the Spire now as well. He already had an Evolution Chamber on the way, so he's going to be able to make spores. If he wants to, he doesn't even absolutely have to. And some Baneling aggression coming up here for YugiOh. Interesting.
No pathogen glands just yet. Banelings are dead, 3 of them.
Yeah, weird aggression.
Getting a third. And pathogen glands on its way, finally.
Getting the third is a risky choice against Spire Tech, but if he feels he can defend it, he's already spreading creep in that direction. I like that. He's using Overlords to do that. It's going to be scary, though, with the Mutas out. Infestors can deal with Mutas really well. If you can get the Fungals, if you can drop some Infested Terrans, there's different ways to deal with them. But you've got to be very on top of where the Mutas are, which is not easy to do.
And YugiOh is not retreating with any of his Overlords, not even the ones at his opponent's main base. Has a small Zergling run by, and July should be aware of the Infestor tech now.
Yeah, you're exactly right about the Overlords. He saw the Spire and has not moved. He's got 4 Overlords in the middle of the map. If he loses all 4 of those, it's going to be tough for him to keep up with his production. Right now, 11 Mutas on the way for July. 7 of them already popped. In fact, he's going to make 12 in total.
5 Infestors to counter them. And I understand perfectly well why he's not removing the Overlords that are basically spreading the creep between those the second and the third base, because with the Infestors in the picture, he can just fungal the Mutalisk as soon as they appear, but the ones around the main base of July, he could have retreated to the corners.
And the Mutas are spotted by these Zerglings as well as the Overlords. And YugiOh having to make a ton of Overlords, 3 in production right now, 4 in fact. He's got Burrow on the way, I like that. That's going to mean that he can hide his Infestors, so July may not realize there's an Infestor burrowed nearby when he goes to harass, and the Infestor pop up and fungal.
Another Overlord dies. July is putting up a lot of pressure, but the Infestors are available. The third base is ready for YugiOh.
Yeah, July has started to zone. YugiOh spots it with a Scouting Zergling.
Roaches now being built for July, whereas YugiOh is losing more and more Mutalisks and still no fungal.
No fungal, but a close call there. The Mutas, a few of them do get trapped. You Infested Terrans dropped here.
Those 4 will die if he fungals again, that is.
And there we go. Does take them out.
Oh, he's attacking with the Mutalisk. Is he able to fungal again? He's using Burrow to save them.
A nice Burrow, almost losing one there. A huge Zergling counterattack by YugiOh was thwarted, and now the counterattack by July is shut down by Fungals as well. July. And YugiOh just, like we said, he's got the better units here.
And yeah, July has problem. He has a problem dealing with this.
I mean, he's going to try to use Banelings to do some damage to the Zergling count of YugiOh, but with good Fungals, they're going to be rendered useless.
As long as the Infestors have energy, he's in the position to defend against this. We have him on 2... How many does he actually have? I'm taking the wrong 11. Getting 3 additional ones with 14 Infestors. You have a lot to deal with Mutalisks and Zerglings.
July does have Baneling speed, so the Banelings are going to be able to avoid his opponents. Oh! That was close.
He's not losing a single Infestor, but it was a close call nonetheless.
And his third base is a little bit under fire here by Zerglings. Right now, the worker count, 53 for YugiOh to 49 of July. July still with 6 Mutas out. And back at home, a Roach Warren has already been started. A ton of Roaches popping out for July right now. He's got Roach speed on the way as well as +1. Roach speed just now starting for YugiOh, so he's a little bit behind in that regard. But with the Infestors, he should be able to delay Roach pushes quite significantly.
And checking the resources lost tab, we have July with 5,500 resources lost against 3,500. So YugiOh is playing very cost efficient now.
And look at this Zergling run by. He may even be able to kill the last base of July, the third base.
Oh,
July is way out of position.
He's not even trying to defend, he's just going for it now. He wants to attack his opponent, nice fungal, but very well split by July at the same time. And he's just fungling everything. He doesn't have too many roaches to back this up, but at the same time, with all those infestors and the fungals, he should be able to defend with ease.
Yeah, nice infested Terrans there. I really like that. Adding some extra DPS. The roaches of July cannot really retreat. The third base of July taken out by that small group of Zerglings.
YugiOh playing so well now.
So well, and look at this, he's going to catch the last group of roaches as well as the mutas. They're all being hit by the same one fungal, and July may be shut down here. He just does not have a whole lot else to do but to continue to rally roaches across and hope that he wins. But YugiOh has got a decent roach count of his own. His roach speed finishing right now, 10 more on the way. He doesn't have +1, that's something that July has, but with the fungals, you know, he could just delay this as much as he wants and eventually hold off July's attacks.
And he's fungling again, catching 4 of these roaches, and July just realizes there's no way I can take this game. Those infestors are nothing that I can deal with right now. Types GG and YugiOh. You mentioned how he struggled in Code A in order to get into Code S. This might be his chance to finally get into Code S. He has 3 wins and not a single loss now.
Yeah, 3-0, playing extremely well. And you know, YugiOh is not the player I expected to get into Code S, or at least, you know, remain in Code S in this case. July, I expected him to do a little bit better in his EVZ, especially after we saw his decision making in the first one. Going for Spire Tech is a little bit weird. Of course, Mutalisks are quite good on Belshire Beach, and if his opponent had gone for Roaches, July could have taken a lead from there and transitioned and gotten ahead, but his opponent went straight for Infestors. The Infestor control was really good. He always had the right amount of them, and he always fungled very correctly. He was able to fungal the Roaches in small numbers when they were cut apart. So even though YugiOh had a very small Roach count, he was able to fungal a small group of Roaches, kill that with his Roaches, and then do the same to another group of Roaches elsewhere. Now, this game is really important for Hero.
Yeah, it's not only important for Hero, but also for Lovesick, because Lovesick, he is, with his back towards the wall, he has lost 2 games already. If he does not win the match against Hero, then he is in the same position. Sorry, it's actually not, then he is the one who will definitely not advance.
Yeah, it's very crucial for him to do this. He will not be able to advance if he loses this game. Hero at 1-1 right now. Important game for him as well for getting out of Code S, but more important,
look at his face. Wow. He's really like, oh my god, I need to win this.
Yeah, he is ready, man.
He is so ready.